It's beach season. That means it's time to get out there and get some sun. I obviously don't do a whole hell of a lot of that. But with the beach comes a good read. And I've got just the read for you. Right here. The Queen and I. My latest dark comedy. It's about a Broadway playwright who's at the top of his game. Nothing can stop him, hit after hit, until he makes the fatal mistake of crossing the wrong person. An eccentric billionaire who has aspirations of his own for Broadway success. Our hero winds up leaving everything behind and going up to the Finger Lakes, where he buys a cabin in a quiet little fictitious town called Zion, New York, where he soon realizes that in his cabin he is not alone. He is sharing his new residence with the ghost of a 1920s vaudevillian drag queen. The drag queen has decided that he wants to recapture his old glory days by helping our hero Jeffrey David Rothstein write the next big thing. But all the while, he's being hunted down by a sadistic madman who has musical aspirations of his own, hears voices, and is hell-bent on finding our hero. All the while, the book is filled with Jewish humor, gay humor, if there is such a term, and warmth, heart, thrills, suspense, everything you could ask for in a summer book. It's a great read. It's something that I'm sure that everyone will enjoy. What's not to love? I quote Mel Brooks, "Without Jews, fags, and gypsies, there is no theater." And in The Queen and I, you have a little of everything. You have Jews, fags, gypsies, Broadway, psychopaths, billionaires, sex, violence, everything you can imagine. Everything that makes a summer read worthwhile. It's an easy read. It flies by. It grabs you from the very first page to the climactic, hilarious ending. An ending that I personally guarantee no one will ever guess. That's how confident I am. You will read The Queen and I. You will enjoy it from the very first page. You will go through page by page wondering what's going to happen. Is our hero going to be caught by this lunatic? Is the billionaire going to get his revenge? Is the ghost of the drag queen going to help our hero write the next big play? And just how in the hell is this thing going to end? And you're never going to guess it. Not in a million years. You're going to sit there and you're going to finish that last chapter and you're going to say to yourself, okay, what did I just miss and what the hell was that? And then you're going to think about it and you're going to laugh your ass off. That's how confident I am. I know that the second you pick up The Queen and I by Russell Andreessen, let's get it in focus. There it is. Available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and other websites. You can also go into the stores and order them. It's a little bit over 400 pages long. A very fast read, though, for 400 pages. And it is filled with humor of the best way to describe it is the Jewish kind. If you're a fan of Mel Brooks, Monty Python, George Carlin, then The Queen and I is the book for you. It holds nothing back. It's not for the politically correct. It's just one of those books that you say to yourself, you know what? This made me laugh. I enjoyed this. I'm happy that I read this. I'm glad I took the time to read it. It was a measure of love and dedication on my part. It was a story that I had been thinking about and playing around with for a while. And once I started writing it, I realized that it took on a life of its own. And for an author, when a book does that, when it starts to take on that life of its own, then you know that you've got something. And the most important thing to do is to let it happen. Let the book lead you. Let it guide you. Let it show you the direction in which it wants to go. I myself was surprised at the path that the Queen and I took me down. This book, I am so proud of. I am so proud of this book that I would scream from the mountaintops, slathered in honey wearing a G-string. How's that for an image? That's how satisfied I am with this book. So for any of you out there who are looking for a new author, for something different, someone new who you've most likely never heard of, I mean, who's Russell Andreessen? Who am I? I'm a new author. The Queen and I is my third book. My second fiction book. I also have a nonfiction book called A Crude World, which I would love for you to read. That is a nonfiction story about the New York Mercantile Exchange, the world of oil and gas traders. And then I also have, published in 2010, Are You Kosher? Memoirs of a Jewish Vampire, which, by the way, I am working on a rewrite and revamp into one long volume that will include the original Are You Kosher, slightly rewritten, and joined with its two sequels, Next Year Jerusalem and Give My Regards to the Rabbi. And I've formatted it in the way that J.R.R. Tolkien formatted the Lord of the Rings trilogy into separate books. But I have them in one volume. But for the meantime, The Queen and I, published by SBPRA and written by Russell Andreessen, Andresen, available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Google, any website you can imagine that sells books. I hope that you take your time to read it. I look forward to your feedback. You can find me on Facebook at Russell Andreessen. My Twitter account is at RWA1974. And I look forward to your feedback. Until then, good night and God bless.